Story number 4, The Cabin at Glen Hollow. They just wanted a quiet weekend. That's how it always begins, doesn't it? Claire and Ethan had been running on fumes, city jobs, long days, and a marriage that felt like it was running on autopilot. So when they found a listing for a secluded log cabin in Maple Hollow, it sounded perfect. No Wi-Fi, no neighbors, just trees, a fireplace, and time to breathe again. The directions said, "Follow the dirt road till it ends," and it did, at a small cabin half hidden beneath maple trees that blazed red and gold in the October light. The cabin looked like something from a postcard. Hand-hewn logs, smoke-stained chimney, and a little wooden sign above the porch that read, "Welcome home." Inside, it smelled of pine and old smoke. A stack of firewood waited by the hearth. A patchwork quilt lay folded on the bed. For the first time in months, Claire felt peaceful. That night, they built a fire, opened a bottle of wine, and sat wrapped in a blanket watching the flames dance. Ethan joked that it felt too quiet. Claire laughed. But when she looked toward the window, she thought she saw something move out there. Just a shadow, a flicker. Ethan checked, of course. Nothing but the trees and the night. They went to bed around midnight, the fire dying down to embers. But a few hours later, Claire woke to the smell of wood smoke, sharp and burning. She sat up. The fire was dead cold, and that's when she heard it. 3 knocks at the front door. "Ethan," she whispered, shaking him. He stumbled up, grabbed the flashlight, and opened the door. No one, just fog rolling through the trees. But on the porch, the beam of the flashlight caught something. Footprints. Wet, muddy, barefoot. They started at the steps and stopped right at the door. By daylight, it seemed silly. They laughed it off. Probably an animal, they said. They spent the next day hiking, but the forest felt heavy, still, like it was listening. That night, the fog came early. They made dinner, lit another fire, and tried to ignore how quiet it had begun. Then, just before bed, Claire heard humming. Soft, gentle, a woman's voice, coming from inside the cabin. She followed the sound to the living room, where an old portrait hung above the fireplace. A woman in a faded dress, her eyes too lifelike for paint. The humming grew louder. Ethan joined her, but before he could speak, the portrait fell from the wall, glass shattering across the hearth. Behind it, carved into the log wall, was a name, Margaret, 1924 to 1952. And burned into the wood beneath it the words, "Don't let him in." The humming stopped. They didn't sleep much after that. Every sound in the cabin felt too close. A floorboard settling, a window sighing, the wind slipping underneath the door like a breath. Then around 3 a.m., the fire went out with a sudden gust, and the front door creaked open by itself. Ethan grabbed the flashlight. "Hello?" And then they saw him. A man standing in the doorway, soaked from the rain, eyes hollow, skin gray and cracked like old bark. He smiled, but the smile didn't reach his eyes. When the door slammed, the fire roared back to life on its own, and when they dared to look again, the man was gone. At dawn, the cabin was quiet again, but the footprints were back, black, wet, leading from the door to the fireplace. And carved freshly into the wood beside the hearth were 4 words. She let him in. They packed their things and left before breakfast. A few days later, the owner called, asked if everything had been all right. Ethan hesitated, then asked, "Who was Margaret?" The owner's voice dropped low. "My grandmother. She built that cabin with her husband. He died there Halloween night, 1952. They said he got lost in the woods and froze, but she always swore he came back. That's why she boarded the cabin up. They never went back, but the cabin's still there at the end of Maple Hollow Road. Locals say that's when the fog rolls down the mountain. You can see smoke curling from the chimney again, and if you listen carefully, you'll hear a woman's voice whispering through the woods, tired, broken, pleading, "Don't let him in." Some doors should never be opened, and some cabins never stay empty for long.